This episode of the Jaguar Football Podcast is brought to you by Lorenzos Tacos and Burritos, located at 1841 Old State Route 21, addicted to tacos. Hi, everyone. I'm Carl Bierock. Welcome back to our Jaguar Football Podcast. And along with us today is, of course, the head coach of Seckman Football, Dr. Nicholas Baer. Coach Baer, thank you so much for your time. I know we're just almost a week and a half away from week one, and really appreciate you being with us today.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. Happy to be here. We're a full week, officially into the season, and another huge 2 weeks in front of us before we play Parkway West. So, a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do, I imagine, but a lot of work has been done. I was kind of going back. This is 3 months worth of podcasts and you talking to us about what the boys and your coaching staff have been going through over the off season. And now it's time to hit the field at least one more time in a practice setting. And it looks like you're going on the road this Friday down to Festus.
Yeah, all the buildup, all the weights, all the emails and things like that are finally, now it's time for football. And, Friday night at our Festus Jamboree, that's going to kind of be that last real, dress rehearsal before we go out there and start the football season against Parkway West. So, at the Jamboree on Festus, it's kind of it's a Jamboree style. So you're going to run 12 offensive plays and 12 defensive plays against 3 different teams. And we'll be mixing guys in with reps. Certain guys are still competing at positions, and there's things we're working on. And we get a great opportunity to see some good competition. We're going to play Jackson there. I think we know a little bit about them. And Farmington and another quality program in Poplar Bluff. We haven't seen Poplar Bluff since I believe it was 2021 in the district semifinal when we won on a goal line stand. So their coaches might remember that a little bit. So
yeah, it seems like there's a lot of backstory with this Jamboree. Very interesting.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's always a little interesting to get that first look at a few teams that we know we may end up seeing later down the road.
Well, I know this the frequency of the podcast is going to increase as we get into the season, so we'll be highlighting and previewing some of the games. But Coach, you talk a lot about the boys and your staff. How are you feeling? Like, what has you excited that you've gone this far in the off season, and the regular season is just days away?
Yeah, I think I hit it at a little bit. All the emails, all the weight room, all the summer expectations, this and that. I mean, that's all finally coming to a head here with the start of the season, and we could focus on school and football, and that's the fun part.
Excellent. Well, we had a very busy weekend, and it started off Saturday morning with the annual Blue and Gold game. Was wondering if you could give me your thoughts and an overview. A different setting, obviously, with the turf being in the condition that it is, but it afforded the fans that were in attendance, and it seemed to me like there were a lot. The sidelines were packed. The opportunity to really get up close and personal and to truly appreciate what the boys and your team are doing to get ready for the season.
Yeah, no, I think we may have accidentally, stumbled into something here, and the parents will have to reach out to me and let me know, if we like doing the blue and gold game at the turf compared to doing it at the grass. I thought the grass really opened up some different opportunities for, a real close up look to what your son does when you drop him off at practice for that 2 hours every day. If you still thought you were bringing them to us and we were playing checkers, you probably don't think that anymore. I think there was one point I turned around. We were running Jaguar Pride there on the smaller field. I had a parent about 10, 15 feet behind me, and I'm like, whoa, this is pretty up close here and kind of in trenches look at the game of football. And really, football is about that one-on-one battle. And we do a lot of that, a lot of Jaguar Pride at practice, usually for about 5 minutes of practice, and really just kind of see who can get on the board and who can win that one-on-one battle. As far as the football is concerned at the blue and gold game, I thought the boys did a really good job. This time of year, there's a lot going on. We're throwing a lot of things at them. And then as we move through the next 2 weeks, we really work to refine and revamp and get a little bit better at them. So, as far as our base schemes and what we were looking for from the football on Friday, it was great. So, obviously looking around, I see one of the pictures there has former player Billy Hart in it that you just put up. Looking around, seeing all the parents, a couple alumni come and watch us practice for the blue and gold game. It was just a great day for the second community.
Yeah, I was probably one of those parents. I had my iPhone and took a couple pictures, but just seeing, just again, just being up close and personal, that was really cool. Because when you think about it, you're watching from the stands as a parent or a fan, you're probably 50 yards away.
Right.
Yeah, so it was nice to be up close and see that.
Yeah, it's definitely a look. I mean, I guess I get a little used to it because I do it on a daily basis. But it definitely opens up a little bit of a window into the game of football for sure.
Yeah, and you spoke about it a little bit. What did you like? What didn't you like as far as the preview? I guess you still have some ways to go and some more practices. What got you
Mhm.
got excited? Once you scratch your head a little bit and
Yeah, well, honestly, the fact that our boys work hard and they're coachable, and we had some plays we executed very well, and then we had some plays where we didn't, and we had the ability to get them on the sideline. When the next group was on, talk to them about the play and coach them up for the next time so they can go back out and execute. And that's really what Friday nights are all about. When the defense is out on the field, the offense has to be on the sideline, learning what they're going to do when they go out there, and vice versa. So that was one very good positive thing I saw from the game, and I was pleased with. And then, you know, well, once you take a look at the film, there's always going to be a few things we need to correct, get better at, and we have 2 weeks to do it. So
no doubt. And I remember from 2 podcasts ago, you talked about one of the plays, B Dub Dub. Did you run that play? I was looking for it. I don't know if you ran it or not.
we're not ready for that.
Okay, all right. Well, it was worth a shot. I do pay
Right.
attention, but no, it was a great day. Great to see everybody out there. Seems like the crowd was energized. It was almost like the dress rehearsal for our first home game. So no, appreciate yes the crowd showing up. It was just a very very nice day out there. And then it seems like right after that concluded, we're off to the park for the cornhole tournament.
Right. Yeah. Weekends are important to people, and I like to keep those sacred for most. And we only really ask for 2 Saturdays a year, and it's always really fun to follow up the blue and gold game with that cornhole tournament. Just a good chance for us all to kind of get together and outside the game, eat a couple burgers from Blue Bunting, throw a couple bags, and support Second football. I thought we had a really good crowd. This was kind of that first year we didn't do it at the Elks Club. And, once again, open to opinions, but I really like doing it at Furby Lane. You can kind of see from some of the pictures, we're kind of more centrally located. Everybody can see each other and talk to each other. And, I know on the thing it always says from 11 to 3, but, for most of us to get out in a couple games, it's mostly like 11 to 1. So, if you haven't had a chance to come out to this, make it a point to come out next year. It's a lot of fun. We had some beautiful weather, plenty of shade, drinks, hot dogs, burgers. Just a kind of a great way to get away from the game of football for a little bit.
Yeah, I noticed there were a number of football players there, and then the families. It seemed like everybody came out for a good afternoon to throw bags, and we had, of course, our back-to-back winners.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody needs to start practicing to beat the Ruble boys. We'll see. Me and my boys are starting to practice, so maybe next year.
Yeah, well, your boys beat my son and one of his buddies, so I don't know if that was strategic or not, but they seem to be doing very well for their age, so you should be proud. So cornhole, great success, raising money for the Booster Club, and that pretty much wraps up, I guess, our main fundraising. We'll probably have some little fundraisers here and there, like the maybe team shop or other fundraising opportunities. Mm-hmm. But overall, I thought it was so nice to see everybody out there. A lot of people having fun, and just great to see that community.
Yeah, no doubt. All the money from here, goes directly into the program, helping us buy pregame meals and equipment for our weight room, equipment for our football field. That stuff's expensive. Most recently, we just bought 2 new pieces to our sled, a new chute. and a couple replacements for our blasters, and that's something that costs $7,000, and it's like, woo, but prices aren't going down on these things, and these are essential things to make sure we can provide a high quality experience for our players. So, definitely appreciate all the support. Like I said, when I think I've said this before, but when I became a football coach, I didn't know I also became a politician and a fundraiser at the same time. So, asking for money and doing things like that is not a lot of fun for me, but it is a necessity if we want to have nice things for our kids. So I really do appreciate everybody donating, supporting our program, and then obviously trusting me and trusting the Booster Club to do what's right with those funds.
No, a great day. And to pivot back to on the field, you wanted to talk a little bit today about the team roles and competitions. I know it was in one of your recent emails. Wanted to allow you the opportunity to expand upon that.
Yeah, I hit this in a pretty good email last week, I think. With a team this large, really any team, it's important for somebody to know what their role on that team actually is. What does this team need me to do for it to be successful? And when you have 185 kids on the team, all those roles are going to look a little different. Some people are going to have more responsibility than others. The reality is, not everybody's going to score. Not everybody's going to start. Not everybody's going to make the two deep. Not everybody's going to make an interception, things like that. So if that's not what my role is, well, then what is it? What does coach need me to do? And, the reality is, if I have 10, 15 guys out on the field that don't know their role or what we need them to do, that becomes a distraction. And the distractions lead to more problems for me. So, really important for me to, and I've had a really good opportunity, especially that first week at practice, to talk to, the groups as a whole as to, this is your job. This is what we need you to do. When we're talking about our blue groups, that's that starting group. That's the first team guys. They're out there. They're preparing every day like they're going to start. And they know that they got guys behind them, competing and trying to beat them out for positions. If your player's on the gold, it's the same thing. Whether you're first string or second string, you are preparing like you could go in a game at any moment. Every year we have stories of, guys getting injured or guys, missing school, not taking care of business, and we need guys to step up, and that's those gold guys. You step into a football game, one play, and then you never come out. And that's what's made us really successful is we've had guys be willing to step up, take on that role. Hey, you know what? Right now I'm not a starter. This guy's better than me, but I need to prepare. So when I get on the field, the team doesn't miss a step. And, right now I can really confidently say all our gold guys are doing a great job of that. And, then it comes all the way down to the silver too. Those guys find themselves, a lot of them are in the three deep. So, what does my role become? My opportunity to get on the football field on a Friday night is honestly slim to none. And, I don't want to kick those guys off the team. I don't cut football players. So what is your role? Well, your role is to make the team better. Your role is to get out there on scout team. Your role is to keep improving as a player, on the field this year, in the weight room this offseason. So maybe next year you can crack that blue and gold and get on that football field on a Friday night. And, for those guys that are in silver right now, I sat them down and we had a really great conversation. And I'm happy to report every one of those guys has done really well. They've shown up to practice every day. They've done everything that I've asked. They've worked really hard. They've had a great attitude, even when I know it may be hard to. And, I want to reward those guys by varsity dresses and then, hopefully finding opportunities to get them on the field. So, if you haven't had a chance to talk to your son about where they're at, what players are in front of them, what they need to do, have that conversation, and if they're confused about what it is, have them have that conversation with me. Because really, that's really the only way we can keep this thing going in the right direction.
Yeah, I imagine, just trying to juggle that many, there was 22 people that start and you have three teams, it's just the reality of it. I know there's some like when I went to high school, they had a freshman, sophomore, JV, and varsity, and they had nowhere near 180 kids in the program. That's for sure. So make the best of your opportunities that's presented. And again, if it's not this year, work and improve and, listen to the coaches and see how the next year goes.
Yep. I mean, that's exactly it. So, being a part of a football team is something special. It's really only something you get to do for 4 years in your life. And if somebody wants to be a part of this team and they want to show up every day and they want to work hard and listen to their coaches, then I'll have a spot for them on this team.
No, that's great. And speaking of, talking about the players and what they do, thought we could talk about some game tape, and you could, talk about, what executed well. I know we had our top 5 plays earlier in the podcast season. Now today we're going to talk a little bit about, sometimes things don't go our way.
Yeah, I mean, I like doing these, and I've liked to showing you a lot of plays where we look really good and we look really smart. But in reality is sometimes we have bad plays, and sometimes there are breakdowns. And when you have those breakdowns, those are what lead to big plays. Once again, it's one of those things. If you get caught watching the football, you really don't get to see these things. But defense, and we're just talking about defense today. Offense has plenty of breakdowns too. But defensively, these guys have responsibilities, and when they do it, you're going to see a good tackle. And when they don't, you're going to see big gains for their opponents. So, this by no means is any way of me calling out a specific player. I mean, every one of the guys has made mistakes before. This is just, us showing a reality that we talk to the boys about and something that we try to prevent, from happening on Friday nights. So, this first play, you might recognize this game. Last time we took the field against Jackson, obviously those guys were running a play every 8 seconds, so it's a little easy for us to sit here and play Monday morning quarterback on a few of our boys. But I do want to talk about, a couple things, a couple of the breakdowns we had, that led to some of the big plays you might have saw. So this first one, really all about gap responsibility, and it's the gap responsibility between this linebacker here. If I can get her to go here, let's see. This linebacker right here and his gap right here. So we'll take a look here, and then we'll kind of work our way through it. So as the play starts, all right, what you'll notice, our linebackers, and I'm going to use my cursor today, our linebackers right here, all right, he has a gap responsibility, okay? We need a gap between 2 linemen, all right? Well, you'll notice we already have a defensive lineman in this gap, all right? So anytime you have 2 defensive players in one gap, that means there's a gap uncovered. And really on this play, that's going to be the gap right out here. All right. So what this linebacker should have saw, instead of dipping his head inside to try to cover a gap we already have, he's going to make what's called a natural X, and he should have came right here. All right. He comes right here. You're going to see exactly where he would have ran right into that running back. He'd have been right there. Instead, we're stuck inside right here. I'll run that back real quick. All right, so we're stuck in the gap. Okay, if we were filling over the top right now, all right, instead of having 2 guys in one gap, we'd have all of our gaps covered. And now it's a first down for Jackson. 3rd and 1 could have very easily turned into about 4th and 5 play there in that play. So, gap responsibility is something we're always harping on our defense about. Something else, and this is something that teams like Jackson do a very good job of. We call it eye candy. Don't trust what's happening back here. Okay, the quarterback, the receiver. Okay, these guys back here. All right, these guys, you're going to see him come in motion across over here. These guys lie to you. Okay, they're trying to get your eyes off what you need to be looking at. You really want to be focused on what these 5 guys are doing up front. That's going to tell you where the play is going. All right, and you're going to see our linebacker right here just get a little bit full. All right, you're going to see a motion come across, his eyes go inside. You're going to see this guy motion back out. What that does is it actually takes our linebacker out of the box a little bit, and now he's going to create this huge seam, and Jackson's going to walk right into the end zone. So there's the motion. Linebacker pops out to that. Actually ends up on his rear end this time. And Jackson walks right into the end zone. All right. So don't follow the eye candy. Don't follow the motion. All right. What we really need to be doing here, instead of taking this path outward here, he takes a path downward here into his natural X to his gap. And this play gets blown up before it even starts. Do not watch the eye candy. Carl, do you watch the eye candy?
I'm learning and I'm taking notes. I don't watch the eye candy.
And you step out on our practice field, you'll hear that said about 15 times. So
Well, after what I saw Saturday morning, I don't think you'll have me stepping out on that field anytime soon. Those boys can go. But wanted to ask you about this. So, they have the responsibility, and we'll probably talk about this in a future podcast, but having access to technology like this during the game to make those adjustments, how has that changed and evolved and made, those coaching opportunities almost real time for you?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when you're watching on a Friday night, if you're watching the game, the offense will be out on the field. They'll come off the field. They go directly to the sideline and the bench to my offensive coordinator, and they're watching these plays in real time. And we're breaking it down. We're making adjustments. These are things, 15, 20 years ago you couldn't do. And I'm sure there's some football coach purists out there that, probably like, well, I had to break it down on the fly, and these young guys don't know. You're right. It's hard to see it as it's happening. So, we have the technology. It's made available to us. Thankfully to our booster club, they've provided us the necessary funds to have it. So we want to provide it to our players. We're actually working on trying to get our drone footage in game this year. So that's also going to be another game changer for us. But, it's definitely changed the landscape of the game and the in-game adjustments. So, you're not waiting till Friday night at 11 o'clock when you watch the film. Oh, this is what was happening. You can see it in real time. And hopefully make adjustments on the fly.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So, this play here, we've discussed a few times about what to do on the perimeters. A lot of the game is played outside here, and teams like to get the ball out quick to their receivers. And when they do that, it's important to hold our gap responsibilities. We got our middle linebacker creating a funnel here. We got our outside linebacker creating that funnel here. And then what's really important, and you're going to see the breakdown on this play, I know I've talked about it before, our corner has to hold the sideline. So you can see we're almost creating a funnel right here. And then our free safety has the angle to come in and make the play. All right, that's how it's supposed to look. All right. Now, if this corner right up here in the circle doesn't do his job, if he doesn't hold outside leverage to the sideline and he goes inside, it makes everybody's job a little harder. On this play, we actually had numbers. We have 4 defensive players here for 3 offensive players. When one of them catches the ball, now we're 4 on 2. All right, and only one of us has to make that tackle. So you'll kind of see the breakdown here as we go. So you'll watch that corner, watch him dive a little bit inside, and I'll show you what it does to that angle. So everybody makes their reads. All right, our cornerback, instead of going outside this block here, comes inside. All right, so now as the play develops, okay, you see our free safety, he's coming up. He should only have to fill right here. Our corner should be here, and the ball carrier has nowhere to go but to meet our free safety. Or if he wants to try to cut it back, we have our linebacker in pursuit. But you're going to see our safety has this angle here, and then he's forced to bend it out, and that's just not going to be a play you can make against a team like Jackson. And then away they go. So, a 10-yard pass turns into an 80-yard touchdown pretty quickly, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, that's kind of, the things, what's going on out there. Sometimes we have breakdowns, sometimes physically you get beat. It's just kind of the name of the game. It's football. Who can win the one-on-one matchups, who can execute their jobs. And, this play here a little bit more recently when we're at our Farmington contact camp, option football. Farmington's an option team. Fox is an option team. And what that means is they can get the ball to any 3 players once the play starts on any play. So, option football, real basically, is you're going to see this fullback come right here up the middle. Okay, the quarterback right here has the option of handing it to him or keeping it. Well, most defensive have somebody assigned for that dive back. So you'll see our tackle and our end here coming right in, and they're going to tackle that fullback. Well, since that fullback's getting tackled, all right, the quarterback decides to keep it. So he's going to keep it, and you're going to see him come out around the edge. All right. So what's important for any defense, and it could look different for any defense on this play, we have a few different ways we cover it. On this play, our outside linebacker is in charge of the quarterback. And you're going to see what happens when we don't hold that responsibility. It doesn't look very good, and it's a 35-yard touchdown for Farmington. All right, so we stop it here. You got the dive. So I just told you that. Look, we got our defensive lineman. He's here to smack it in the face. This guy's next read is to get outside. All right, if we did this properly and we got in his face right here, He'd have to then pitch it to this guy, and he would be coming up the sideline. But then guess who we have for the sideline? Corner, free safety. All right. One guy not doing their job, one guy not taking the quarterback when he's supposed to, and you get something like this. Whoop! And away he goes. Touchdown, Farmington. So, option football teams, I mean, that's the reason that you run option. You want to be able to hold teams accountable. You want to keep them to assignment football. And Farmington does a pretty good job of doing that. So, that's an option football breakdown. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you see or do you encounter a lot of that type of offense? Or because I know ours is unique in some aspects, you don't really see it a lot. Are a lot of teams running this type of option?
Yeah, I mean, mainly this is what Fox does. Fox is a
Okay.
triple option football team, and teams can, choose to base their whole offense off of it, or, some teams will dabble in it. They'll have a couple packages where they run it. So it's something that, from week to week, we always have to be prepared for, who's got what on what responsibility and what play. So yeah, no, I mean, week 2, Fox, this is what they do. Maybe not in the exact formation. They'll go split backs, they'll go they'll go from the flex bone, but, it's all pretty much the same as far as, giving yourselves them options and then trying to beat you when you make a mistake.
Got it. No, thank you. Because I was just curious about like what you encounter, and I guess that practice squad going back, that's what is important to mimic what you're going to see that week. And it wasn't sure if this is something that's common or
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely a common part of the game for sure.
Got it.
And then this last little breakdown here. This is from the Farmington game. There's a number of breakdowns on this play. I'm not very happy with it, but one thing I do want to focus on are pursuit angles and how defensive guys run to the football. And we tell them, don't chase butts because you should never be chasing one of your teammates. When you're chasing one of your teammates, now all you've done is, in theory, eliminate each one of you from that line. So we'll take a look here. We'll let this play develop a little bit, and I'll pause what I'm talking about. Right here. You'll see we have 1, 2, 3 players here all in a line. Every one of them chasing butts. Okay, see how he's chasing his butt? He's chasing his butt. What they have done here is essentially eliminated themselves from the play. They've created this cutback lane for the Farmington player. All right, what would look better? All right, and we have drills specifically for this. We work them all the time, and this was Farmington in July, so plenty of time to still correct these sorts of things. Is we have one player that should be here, one player here, one player pursuing from here. All right, and if we have that, once you see this cutback, you're going to see he would have ran right in to one of them. So, pursuit angles, especially when you see cutbacks, also another possible defensive breakdown. So, like I said, just kind of a little window into when things don't go our way, and all the things our guys have to do right to really make a solid defensive play.
Well, let's hope that we have a repeat of last year's defense, and that was a historical. But this is what these practices and jamborees are all for, I imagine.
Oh yeah, no, that's what it's about. It's about working out the kinks, getting the film. Trust me, there's going to be a breakdown on Friday at Festus, and we'll have a week to correct it. I mean, that's just reality when you're dealing with 16, 17, 18-year-old kids.
Gotcha. Well, Coach, as always, thank you so much for breaking down the tape. This is something I really enjoy, and the viewers appreciate as well because they just don't have this type of access to the equipment and the breakdown that you have. And we have one more big weekend coming up. So we have Festus on Friday, and then Saturday we're back at it.
Yeah, kind of try to throw everything else into one Saturday here. We'll start the day off with our dad's donuts and decals. And like, it's just kind of a fun way for, the dads and kids or any father figure in a player's life to come on out and share the game a little bit. Hey, let's slow it down, eat a donut, throw put the decals on the helmet. Some of them look better than others. Just relax and, come on out on a Saturday morning. It's always a lot of fun, always a good time. And then we transition that right into team photos. Really with team photos, I'm trying to, not mess up our practices as much as possible. So doing it on a day where we're not practicing is key to that. And, it's a day full of distractions and taking the photos and doing the hair and looking good. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not a lot of football coaches' favorite day. So I'm glad to experience it with a few of the dads and parents that end up showing up and helping us out. But it's quite an undertaking when you're taking 185 pictures. But it will hang in there, bear with us. Trust me, I want it to go faster than you. So we'll get it done, and we'll all move on with our Saturday.
All right.
And then we're going to follow that up with the moms practice, and this is always fun. Be a fun way for the moms to. I know you got to look at what the kids do. This is a fun way for the moms to really come out and experience, what their kid does at their position. Very basic stuff. And really, for me, honestly, it's also an opportunity for moms to be around and work with the coaches, the men that you are sending your kids to work with every day. These are my coaches. I stand by all of them, and I feel like they do what's right for kids. And this is your opportunity to learn a little bit about those guys, interact with them a little bit. I mean, these are the dudes that are with your kids 2 hours every day. So come on out, have some fun, and hit a few bags, and don't hurt yourself.
Or the player, one or the other.
Yeah.
So, Coach, we're at the time here. We're coming up. Just want to remind everybody that check out our social media channels. We have a Facebook page. We also have a YouTube channel. So any kind of updates, the schedule, these podcasts, other important information will always be put up on our social media channels. And with that, Coach, we're at our time. This always seems to fly by. It's a very fast half hour, but wanted again to give you the floor and take us out and impart some wisdom as we get into the last few days of the off season.
Yeah, we're in it. Once the season starts, it goes by in an instant, and really take, that's why this Saturday too, really great opportunity to really slow things down and enjoy this game with your son. At the end of the day, yeah, I'm trying to win games and we're trying to do this and that. We all love the competition. It's definitely more fun when you win. But the game and being a part of a football team is about relationships. And, let's not lose sight of it. Everybody has, real jobs, except for me, plenty of other stressors in your life. When you come to games, when you come to anything Seckman football, make it a fun experience. Don't turn coming into games in Seckman football another stressor for you. Don't be stressed. Come for some entertainment. Come to enjoy your son or daughter playing this great game of football. Trust me, I'm stressing out enough for all of us. So don't let it be a point of stress for you, and just come on out and have some fun. Enjoy the game with your son, because it's going to be 11 weeks and we're going to be at the banquet. So.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Coach, thank you so much, and good luck this Friday over at Farmington. We'll see you out there, and then we gear up for week 1 before you know it. So again, thank you so much for your time, and we will catch you on the next podcast.
All right, thanks, Carl.
Thank you.